Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to this session on Ask Me Anything on DILR. So as I said, we have received a few questions from the students. So let's start with those questions. I have kept those questions on this presentation. And this is the common question that we get from the students every now and then, right? And it's in fact a good question. So what should be my ideal preparation plan for DILR section for next 6 to 7 months? So I would answer this question at length. First thing, how much time you should be preparing on DILR preparation, how many sets you should look to target on solving on a daily basis, and so on. So first of all, you should be ready to spend somewhere around 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes on a daily basis on your DILR preparation, right? And on an average, you should be targeting doing close to 2 sets every day, right? Also ensure that there is a variety in the sets that you are solving rather than solving just only one type of questions, right? So if you are solving IMS material, that is our class exercise, practice exercise, the benchmarking test, that takes care of the variety factor, right? Apart from that, you should also spend some time on skill building. So what exactly is skill building? You are not solving the sets or the questions directly, but you are solving some random puzzles, some challenges, you can say, right? And there are a lot of free resources available online, which enables you to do so. So there are Sudoku puzzles, there are Kakuro, Kakurasu, Kin, Hitori, right? All these puzzles, all these games you can go and play online for free. So that also helps you develop that logical thinking capability, helps you build those muscle, right? Which will help you crack the analytical and logical reasoning part. Also, you should, I mean, I can suggest a few websites on which you can regularly visit and try solving the puzzle. One of the website is brainbashers.com, right? The other one is lumosity.com, right? Over here also, it's very important to understand that you have a variety in the type of puzzles that you are solving, right? And most importantly, whatever agenda that we have covered over here, right, that in terms of practicing, right, make sure that it happens on a regular and consistent basis, right? Your practice, your material solving will not have frequent gaps in between, right? This is something that you are expected to do on a day in and day out basis, right? And these small investment, these small efforts taken over a longer period of time is something that really counts towards your final result, right? So yeah, let's move to the next question. I hope this is clear, the preparation agenda. What type of sets can we expect in the exam? Well, I just wish I knew that, right? So that I can announce it to all IMS students, right? But yeah, obviously, no one can predict this, but still, I can give you an idea of the question type which appears regularly in the exam, right? So there are certain question types which occur more frequently, which are seen more commonly in the CAT exam. I can definitely highlight on those things, right? So one common question type over here is arrangement-based question. It can be linear arrangement, it can be circular arrangement, it can be matrix-based puzzles, right? So this is something which appears on CAT on a regular basis. Second thing is puzzles. Third is questions which are based on conditionality and grouping. Then there can be Venn diagrams based on 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets. They are really common, right? Apart from that, there are chart-based questions which occurs almost regularly in CAT exam. So it can be a bar chart, line chart, or it can be a combination of graphs, which is seen frequently in the CAT papers, right? So these are some common, also not to forget games and tournaments, right? So these are commonly asked question types. Make sure that you practice each of the question type and you are not weak at any of them, correct? This is the next question. I am not able to score well in DILR in the benchmarking test or in the module test. How can I overcome this to ensure I score well in mocks and the actual CAT? First of all, I would suggest that you should be getting into testing habit on a regular basis, right? So every topic that you are preparing, right, take a test based on that topic, right? If you are taking the benchmarking test regularly after the completion of the topic, you are ensuring that whatever topic you are learning, you are, testing yourself on the topic that you have just learned, right? Secondly, uh, be ready to face lower than expected scores initially, right? Third thing, you should be having a realistic expectation in terms of the attempts that you are making, in terms of the scores that you are getting. Now, this is really, really important. And that is where a lot of student fails to understand what exactly should be their expectation, right? So a lot of time, what we do is we try to compare our CAT performance, right? Or maybe whatever test that we are taking, the performance of that with our performance of 10th, 12th graduation, right? So how we have been conditioned over the years, right? During our board exams and during our university exam is that we are conditioned to, go after certain percentage, right? And now if you want to score high percentage, it is very, very important that you solve almost everything which is there on the paper and you are not expected to leave any question when you are running after a particular percentage, right? So you will try to solve almost everything which is there in the paper, and that is where there is a biggest gap in the you know testing of competitive exams versus the testing of the other exams, right? In the competitive exams like CAT, you are not expected to you are not expected to solve each and every question, right? It is not basically a test of how much you know, rather it is a test of what maximum result you are able to produce with whatever limited resources that you have, right? So the limited resources that you have is, it can be the amount of knowledge or the amount of content that you have. Secondly, you have a limited time on your hand, so given all these limitation, how much is the maximum result that you are able to produce? That is what it counts, that is what which counts over here. And that is why it's really important that also if you look at the several years data of CAT, you will understand that if you are scoring really, really high percentile, maybe 98 upwards or 99 plus or 99.5 plus percentile also, right? They will be somewhere in the range of 50 to 60 percentage of the total score. If you just understand that, if you just get that in your head very clearly, that I'm good at scoring 50 percentage or 60 percentage of the maximum marks, right? Then you will be ready to leave certain few questions, some of the questions which sound difficult, some of the questions which sound too time consuming, right? And that has to be the way forward, right? So let's say if you're taking any test, you are able to solve question number 1, 2, 3, well and good. But if the question number 4 sounds difficult to you, right, you have no clue how you can solve this, or maybe if it sounds too much time consuming to you, you should immediately leave that question and move on to the next question, right? So this way, if you are open to leaving a few questions in between and you are trying to reach till the end of the paper, I think you will be able to maximize the number of attempts that you are making, and that eventually helps you maximize the score also. Right. So this is something which is very, very important. This paradigm shift has to be there, right? And that can only be learned through regular testing. So yes, you can definitely score well in CAT, provided if you are into the testing on a regular basis. Let's move to the next question. I have recently joined as an IMS CAT 24 program, an IMS CAT 24 program. Will this material be enough if I'm targeting 99 plus percentile? Well, a simple answer to this is yes. Okay. But at the same time, you should also understand that no material will guarantee you a specific score or percentile, isn't it? So it might happen that you are solving the same material, you are getting 99 plus percentile, which you wanted, right? Somebody else is also solving the same material, the same number of set, and he might not even be able to score 80 percentile. That can very well happen, right? So rather than material helping you get the required percentile, it is more of how you perform on the given day, how you manage those 40 minutes that you are getting into the section, right? That is really, really important, right? Material can help you build your content, right? Material can help you reach a certain level from where you are ready to take on to the testing, right? But ultimately, as I said, it depends on how well you are able to utilize those 40 minutes matters a lot, right? Talking about material, see, we have enough material, and if you're talking about IMS materials, since this question is specifically targeted to that, I'm talking in terms of I'm talking about IMS material here, right? So, what all material do we have? We have pre-class concept video, right? That also involves questions. That also involves the sets. The mentors are explaining the set, isn't it? So over there also you are getting some questions, followed by the class exercises, the practice exercises, the benchmarking test. On our portal also we have additional DILR practice sets. There are AI powered questions also in our class and practice exercise, right? Once you're done with all of that, during your first round of solving, once you get into the next phase, you will be able to utilize the sectional test will be giving you, right? There are a lot of SimCATs. To be precise, there are 40 of them, and each SimCAT has 4 to 5 DILR sets in it, right? And obviously, keeping all this in mind, you can also solve actual CAT papers, which we also recommend. So that's the only external source we recommend using, because they are official CAT papers. Other than that, the material that we have is quite exhaustive, and of course, they are gold standard, right? So that can definitely help you reach 99 percentile. But as I said, again, finally, everything boils down to how you're performing during those 40 minutes of the exam. How to select a set? This is a very interesting question. So I'll try to answer this question in detail, right? So at IMS, what we suggest is following an ABC approach towards set selection. Now, what is ABC? To put simply, A means all those questions, all those sets, which can be categorized as abhi karo, right? A for abhi karo. B, baad mein karo. C, chhod do, right? So that is what ABC is. Abhi karo, baad mein karo, chhod do. But the things are not that simple. They are not that black and white. Obviously, no set comes with an instruction that this is category A, whereas this is category B, and so on, right? So what parameters are we using in order to determine whether this is A, B, or C? That is very, very important to understand. So there are certain parameters. Number one is the type of set that we have, right? Now, the type of set can be uh, a familiar set, or you can say it is a standard set, or it can be a unique set, right? A familiar set or a standard set is something that you have seen earlier, that you have practiced on a regular basis, and you have a fair amount of idea how to go about solving these type of sets, right? So what can be classified as a familiar or a standard set? The puzzles, the arrangements, the bar and chart based questions. To an extent, the Venn diagrams are also familiar and standard set types, right? Whereas something which is not so familiar, they are called unique question types. Some sets which appear once in a blue moon, they are called unique question type, right? So that is one way of determining whether the set is a standard or unique set. The second parameter is we have to look at the conditions also. So all those instructions which are given in the set, right? Are they plugin conditions or are they deductive conditions? A plugin condition is something which you can just read and enter the data in the table that you are preparing. So say, for example, if it is given that A is a doctor, now that's a plugin condition, isn't it? You can simply go to A, go to doctor, and put a tick mark in the table, right? So that's the plugin condition. But uh, if it is given to you that if B is not a lawyer, then C cannot stay in a greenhouse. Now, can you use this condition and directly enter the data into the table? No, right? But this condition can be used along with some other condition to derive some information, right? So these kind of conditions are called deductive condition. Third thing, the type of questions that you have in the set, right? Are those questions open-ended questions or close-ended questions? A close-ended question will have a definite answer. Something like on which day A is making his presentation, right? So that's a very that's what you call a close-ended question, because there's a definite answer. Out of 7 days of the week, one day has to be the answer. Whereas an open-ended question could be something like this: what is the maximum team size, or what is the maximum group size that is possible? Now over here, there can be any natural number which is possible as a group size, right? Now the easiest set has to be a set which is standard as far as the set type goes, the conditions given in the question are plug-in condition. At least the majority of the question conditions are plug-in condition, right? And the third thing, the the type of questions that you are having are mostly close-ended question. So that is going to be the easiest set, and you should prioritize that set. Versus the most difficult set could be the unique set, having a lot of deductive conditions and having a lot of open-ended questions, isn't it? So this is how you are supposed to approach the set selection process, right? And it's obviously not a gut feeling that you are just looking at the set, reading through the instruction randomly, and you are trying to apply your gut feeling that, okay, this set looks easy to me, right? We're not discussing about that. We are discussing about a very, very scientific approach wherein we are looking at a set type, we are looking at the type of instruction, we are looking at the type of question, and then we are making the judgment. So simply our chances of getting the selection right drastically improves, right? Having said that, this is not something that you should be using only in the test or only on the day of CAT. In fact, I recommend using this approach of ABC selection almost on a daily basis, right? Because I have conveyed the message to you, right? You understood how the set can be classified, but that does not mean that from tomorrow onwards you will be able to select the set uh, as per the ideal selection, right? Maybe your chances of getting the selection wrong is higher during the initial phase. And that is why this is something that you should be practicing on a day in and day out basis, right? And not just from test to test, or not just when you're taking the mocks or the actual CATs. So are you solving a class exercise or practice exercise, right? Rather than going for all the sets that are there in the exercise, that is 1 to 4 first, then 5 to 8, why not spend 5 minutes, 7 minutes initially and scan through all the set, try to classify them as easy, moderate, difficult, or maybe A, B, and C type of questions, right? And then prioritize that I'll do 9 to 12 first. I'll be doing 1 to 12, 1 to 4 later, and 13 to 16, I'll keep it at the end, right? So this is how you can decide your priority and go according to that, right? And yeah, do not, afraid of getting the selection wrong, because it might very well happen that you have, classified a particular set as type A, and that turns out to be C, and vice versa, right? So do not afraid of getting your selection wrong, right? But review your selection after your test is done or after your exercise is done, and try to analyze the gap in your selection. That is the way you can improve gradually on how you are selecting your sets. Okay, let's look at the next question here. I have started CAT preparation from last 2 months. Should I take the pre-SimCATs and the SimCATs that are scheduled this month, or should I focus on completion of syllabus first and then start taking the SimCATs? Right? The answer is clearly yes. You should start participating as early as possible. So take all the pre-sim kits that are given to you in this month. Take all the sim kits that are given to you in this month, right? Of course, your objective of taking that test will be different based on at what level of preparation you are into, or in what phase of preparation you are into, right? So for example, if you are somebody who has just started out your preparation, maybe you are 1 to 2 months old into your preparation, then your objective of taking this pre-SimCATs and SimCATs would not be, would be slightly different from somebody who is preparing from, let's say, 6 to 8 months to 10 months, right? So you should not try to read it too much into your scores at this point of time, because you have hardly completed a module or two, correct? So your objective of taking the test will be completely different. You will be trying to familiarize yourself with the testing platform, with the format of the exam, and the test that you are taking, let it be more of a diagnostic test, right? Which tries to measure your initial level of capability, right? Without receiving any formal training. So maybe you can look at it that point of view. And as I said, don't try to read too much into your scores at a very early level, right? Also, let's say if you are getting reasonably older, right? If you complete one round of cycle, then obviously you should start reading seriously into your scores. You should also start analyzing the test and find out the gaps in terms of your question selection, find out the gaps in terms of the knowledge gap if it is existing, right? So if you are relatively older, this is how you should be approaching the test. But yes, starting early is very, very important, because see, you should not be waiting for a perfect time to start your testing. I've interacted with a lot of students, and they have different plans, different approaches regarding how they want to approach the test series, right? So some of them will say that, okay, I'll start testing once I'll complete the entire syllabus, right? I'll start testing once I'll complete the syllabus. Not only that, I'll complete the revision also, right? And once I feel that I'm fully prepared, right? Let me tell you, there is no perfect time, right? If you keep waiting for that time, you will keep delaying your testing, right? And the truth of the matter is that once you take few initial tests, you are bound to get a few shoppers in terms of your performance. So maybe the score that you are getting might not be at par with your potential, right? So there are certain performance issues like question selection, time management, accuracy, silly mistake, right? Now, do you want to face all these issues when you are roughly 6 to 7 months away from your exam? Or you want to face these issues when you are hardly 1 to 2 months away from the exam? Obviously, the earlier scenario, right? So that you have enough time to work on the performance related issue and get them in place, right? Suddenly, let's say if you start taking the test in the month of October, you are just 1 to 1.5 months away from the exam. And then you realize that, okay, I have several testing related issues. I'm not able to manage the time, or I'm not able to perform the selection better, right? So getting those realization at that point of time, it's, very important that you realize those things early and start working on them as early as possible. So yes, you should definitely get started with the testing at the earliest possible, and don't wait for the perfect time, as I said, right? How many questions should I target attempting? Well, as much as possible, as many as possible, in fact, right? Let's say, obviously, but without compromising on your accuracy. That's important. You should try to answer as many questions as possible without compromising on accuracy part. So let's say if you are able to answer X number of questions, why should you settle down at X minus 3 just because someone is saying you to do so, right? Yeah, but I can definitely reframe this question for you, and we can try to understand in a slightly different manner. So let's say if your question is, what sort of score I should be targeting to reach so and so percentile, right? What kind of score I should be targeting to reach XYZ percentile? So to answer that, I'll just like to show you this chart. So the first table that you are seeing here is CAT 23 data. That is the recent CAT edition, right? And the next table is CAT 2022. That is last year's exam, right? So we have last 2 years data with us, and how to analyze this data. So first look at this 85 percentile column, right? Why I've highlighted 85 percentile? Because for some of the colleges, not all of them, but for some colleges, there is something called a sectional percentile, right? And the sectional cutoff rather. So the sectional cutoff will be somewhere around 85 percentile, right? Again, not all the colleges will ask for it, but there are certain colleges which require sectional cutoff, and they are in the range of 85 percentile approximately. So if you want to, obviously that has to be the first milestone, that you want to clear the sectional cutoff, right? And then you should look for the maximization of the score, right? So if you want to clear the sectional cutoff in DILR, as per CAT 23 data, you need 14 marks, 14 raw score, right? And as per CAT 22 data, you need 13 marks as your raw score, right? Now, what is 14 marks and 13 marks? We know that every correct answer fetches 3 marks. And that is why when we talk about 14 or 13 net score, it is approximately 5 net correct. See, I'm saying net correct. I'm not saying 5 correct. I'm saying 5 net correct, which means you may attempt 6 correct, get 3 incorrect. Overall, you have 5 net correct. So 6 correct gives you 18 marks, right? 3 incorrect gives you minus 3, assuming all 3 are MCQs, right? So 18 minus 3, you will get a score of 15, which is what we call 5 net correct, right? So solving 5 net correct will help you clear the sectional percentile, sectional cutoff. Let's say if you are stronger at DILR and you are looking for score maximization in DILR section, so you are targeting anywhere around 99 plus percentile, right? So I've highlighted that column also. 99 percentile in DILR as per CAT 23 data is 27 as a net score. And according to 22 data, it is 29. Now, what is 27 and 29? Again, it is 9 and 10 net correct, respectively, right? Which could be, 11 correct, 3 incorrect. We will get those 10 net correct. So this is how one should look at uh, the expected scores for percentile. And even if you look at the historical data, not just these 2 years, right? Even if you look at last 10 to 12 years data, you'll be amazed to find that your 99 percentile always ranges somewhere between 45 to 55 percentage of the total score, right? Yeah, I think this is pretty much it, right? Let me check if there are any more questions which have been received on YouTube. I'll just try to answer those as well. Okay. Uh, I think there is nothing beyond this. So these are various social media platforms through which you can try connecting us, right? Do connect with us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. There are several blogs also that are being published on regular basis. You can check out those as well. And all the necessary links are there in the description box below this video. So make sure that you check out those as well. Thanks for joining. Have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.